But let's talk about Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, according to Christian Clark of the New Orleans Times, is it Picayune? Picayune? I've always wondered what that's supposed to be. But the report is that, yeah, it's seeming that the Pelicans don't want to extend Brandon Ingram. Injury prone. The guy's never really, besides his rookie year, since his rookie year, he has never played past 65 games, I believe, is the exact amount that I looked at the other day. And why would they? So, and also, I've said for a while that before this season, this was Mr. Brandon Ingram's team. Like, this was not Zion Williamson's team until recently. And as a result, I think the biggest thing is that we're seeing is, all right, how are they going to move forward? And for me, I think the way that they're moving forward is understanding that they need to trade Brandon Ingram this offseason for whatever they can get. And for me, I think the biggest thing that they're looking at is how can we turn Brandon Ingram, who he wants an extension and we don't want to give it. I really think he's going to end up in like either Portland or I just maybe Philadelphia. I just don't think Philadelphia is going to give him the deal that he wants. I think the deal that the Pelicans wants. I think the Pelicans want players. They want to turn his contract into multiple players because there's a chance they're going to lose multiple players this offseason, which in my opinion is very true. And it's smart for them to go ahead and be realistic that, all right, let's play ball and see what there is out there. But to me, I don't think there is much out there. I think they're trying to find dandelions in a meadow filled with I want to say wheat, but what I'm gonna say is not wheat, but with weeds, and weeds as in like bad shit. So yeah, I think it's definitely a weird situation. So if we were to go around and play the good old game of, oh, let's go ahead and, look at the trade machine and talk about what trades. I think someone over here said, and like, look, Timothy Newman, I know what you're saying about Ronnie, but Ronnie Clark, Ingram to Indiana, that was one I was thinking. And I guess when they traded for Pascal Siakam, they did get his bird rights, and the expectation is we'll talk about Pascal actually shortly. But I think Indiana could maybe be feasible. It's just so hard. So should we hop into the trade machine and do a little few trades? Let's just hop into the trade machine and let's look at some trades. I don't think they care for picks. I don't think, because picks are what you want long term, and it's not there isn't many trades, because if you trade for assets, what trade are you going to do with those assets? I think they just want to do a one and done trade. So let's say if Indiana, all right, let's say, can I fix this contract? Modify contract type. What's the max? Isn't the max? Let's give him a 3-year deal. That's what they're going to give him. And I think the max would be what? 40? I think it's like 43 each year. Let's just do that. 43 each year, something like that. That gives them a contract of him on $43 million a year. So what contracts would they use to trade? They don't really have much that they can use, and they're a team that now is technically $10 million over because they just signed Pascal to the max. And this is where it becomes hard because they don't have those salaries, and that I don't think they would want to trade Aaron Nesmith. But if they were willing to trade Aaron Nesmith in this hypothetical world, and I think they very much value Miles Turner, but I think in this hypothetical trade, would they be able to do Jarris Wallace? I think you'd have to include Wallace in there. And then I think Isaiah Jackson would have to be included there. Now, this would be a lot of contracts, but the way the deal would work is it would It'd primarily be for them to get out of the second apron, and it would be just trying to split that contract. And technically, this would work. I don't know how much Indiana would want to do it, but the deal right here. Oh wait, why is Pascal Siakam? Wait, no, Pascal Siakam is okay. So you re-sign Pascal Siakam to the max, which I believe is like $129 million, and I think it is. It's like 43 or 50, whatever. It might be more. However, in this deal, you would send Aaron Nesmith, Benedict Mathurin, Jarris Walker, Isaiah Jackson, and Kendall Brown for Brandon Ingram. This technically would make them have to take on $36 million, and then I think the with the max, they would technically now be taking on $57 million, as Pascal Siakam had a contract renegotiation. So let me look at what the Pascal max is supposed to be. They're saying to do the 5-year $245 million, which they potentially could do. But in this deal, I think you give up so many young players that it's worth it. Now, I think, yeah, if we continue to look at it's something like that, but I'm done with this. You get what I'm saying? I feel like the point got across about how you would do this deal for a guy like Brandon Ingram. And I could see maybe a deal like Detroit sending Bojan Bogdanovic and then some other young guys. I did not mean Bojan Bogdanovic, but the idea still stands the same. Dave, what you're saying, like, yeah, first off, they barely played. Bojan had to be, both of them were like, they played them out of like pure self-preservation in a way, like, because they had to. But I'm trying to think of some big contracts that they could send. Joe Harris, I believe, isn't expiring. Correct me. Just to look at it, just to fill this in. So I wanted to say, if you were to just do this deal, Evan Fournier, that's who's the contract they traded. So Evan Fournier in this sense, but Evan Fournier's, the guarantee isn't the same, but it's still just a weird situation that I think we all just we're all looking at it like from the outside in, like, thank God we're not in that position, because golly, that's going to be an interesting contract to trade for the Pelicans if they are going to be able to move off of Mr. Brandon Ingram. So definitely going to be interesting to see how they do it. Well, I want to hear your guys' opinion. Do you think they'll be able to trade it, or you think it's not going to be feasible? But like I said, it's a matter of, if there's a will, there's a way. I just don't think, and it goes back to the same thing we said with Bruce Brown, I don't think you're trading picks for Brandon Ingram. If you're a team trading for Brandon Ingram, and I think if you're the Pelicans, I think you would be fine giving up the possibility of getting draft picks for Brandon Ingram to get more quality win now players in contrast. Maybe that's just me. I just think, looking at it, I rather say, hey, I'm willing to say no draft picks. Give me the assets in terms of young guys, and then not young guys, give me like rotational role players or young guys who can be effective role players right now, and I'll figure out that down the road, especially with how the salary cap rules are with the CBA to get out of the second apron. Because I basically, in that case, what we just did, we turned Brandon Ingram into 5 players who save us money and all could be potentially, guys who help win us games. And I think that is more important in today's NBA than having multiple dudes or multiple draft picks that we don't know if they're going to actually turn into things, or if you're going to be able to actually turn them into picks that win you games. And I think that's the bigger thing.